Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. What an exciting day. We've actually just signed Viktor Gyökeres today. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. But that's not the only news that we have today. So in this one, let's cover everything else that has happened today. We have updates from Fabrizio and Hand of Arsenal and a couple of other journalists regarding Eze. Should be our next signing, looks very likely to be our next signing, so we'll give you updates on that one. Also, we have four big updates on players who've been linked with moves away from Arsenal. Four players. So Gabriel Jesus, Reiss, Zinchenko, and Trossard. So a lot of things are happening at Arsenal at the moment. Amrabat is absolutely cooking. So much is taking place, man. On the same day that we've had the Gyökeres medical, is the same day we've had a Gyökeres announcement and like 3-4 other things happening all at the same time. So let's get through all of that. But obviously, it would be very rude not to start this video with Gyökeres. I mean, we've been asking for a striker for years, man. So of course we have to talk about him again. I don't care if I talked about him on the last video. So as always, all the updates, I'll be giving you guys all the updates. I'll even be telling you guys what time Gyökeres will eat his breakfast tomorrow. Every single update. So make sure to like and subscribe. Let's get to it. Let's start with this one. Gyökeres, the Arsenal, it's official as confirmed by Arsenal right there. There he is with Andrea Bata. I jokingly said in the live show that, Gyökeres might not be our biggest signing on the transfer window. It might actually be Andrea Bata because the kind of job that he's done. I mean, I've seen someone posting a picture of 1 year ago, and right now, 1 year ago, a picture of Sterling and Edu. 1 year later, this picture of Bata and Gyökeres, and someone said, yeah, the contrast is quite big. How we were feeling last season, heading into the season, and how we are feeling right now. Quite a big difference. So it's officially it's official now. We're going to sign him for 63.8 million pounds, and some of that are add-ons. We're going to give them 54.8 million first, and then the rest regarding in terms of goals and also in terms of appearances, Champions League qualification over the next 3-4 years, all of that. But it's a big signing, an absolutely big signing. And you know what Gyökeres said in his interview? It's just 5 simple words, but I don't know if people know exactly how big that is. Gyökeres said, I just want to score goals, or I want to score goals. That is it. I want to score goals. He was asked about, joining Arsenal, what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? He said, simple, I want to score goals. Do you guys understand how big that is for us? We have someone who wants to score goals. Now, let's be honest. Gabriel Jesus, the striker that we've had, he was asked the same question like a year ago, and he said, scoring is not really my strong point. That is a bit concerning when that is your striker. Now, Jesus has been very good for us, especially in the first season. I'm not saying Jesus has been terrible. No, the injuries have been bad for him, but the first season, he helped us, qualify for the Champions League. They have helped us compete for the Premier League. But obviously, when your striker says, the scoring is not their strong suit, that's a bit concerning. Now, Gyökeres directly said, I want to score goals. 5 words that absolutely change our lives. I don't know if Gyökeres realizes how much that changes our lives. Having a striker who just wants to score goals, having a striker who just wants to be in the box, finish all the chances, and a striker who can finish chances, turn chances into goals. That is what you want. Turn chances into goals. Gyökeres will do that for us, and absolutely big, absolutely big. I cannot wait for him to get started. His debut will be against Tottenham on Thursday. I cannot wait to see all the videos of him meeting the rest of the players, because you can tell from the Declan Rice, from Lewis Kelly, and all the others, they're absolutely excited to see, a player like Gyökeres joining the team. So it's not just us fans, the players as well. How is Saka feeling? He now knows he doesn't have all that pressure, in terms of scoring the goals. I mean, who knows? Maybe Havertz feels the same way as well. Maybe he feels like, oh, finally, I don't have all that pressure on me to score goals. Now I can play freely this season. It just completely changes the rest of the team, Maybe it makes Martinelli better. It makes Odegaard better. It makes Saka better. It makes Havertz better. It makes Merino better. Such a big signing for us, man. And having a player who simply wants to join Arsenal, he didn't join us because of money, because we were offering him 300,000 a week or something like that. He was not joining us because, he didn't have anywhere else to go. So he decided to join Arsenal. None of that. He said, I want to join Arsenal, and I think he's going to pay like 20,000 a week. So that is not even amongst our highest plays. It just wanted to play for Arsenal. So that is absolutely crucial. And this is what Fabrizio had to say. By the way, a big shout out to his agent there on the left side. Both of them paid their own money to make sure he comes to Arsenal. So that is great. Viktor Gyökeres here with super agent Hassan Sentikaya right after signing with Arsenal. Yeah, he's definitely a super agent. Gyökeres says he's thankful with Sentikaya aligned since day one on plan to join only Arsenal, and also with commission reduced to make deal happen following huge work. Now, there's a lot of ways this deal could have gone. Now, first of all, for us, if he hadn't reduced his money or hadn't, told Sporting not to give him that commission so that the deal can happen quicker, we could still have been in the first. We could still have been in negotiations up until now, because we were never going to pay that money. Sporting were never going to sell. Gyökeres said, "I'm going to give my own money." The agent said, "You can keep that 8 million, 9 million, or don't want it. I just want my client to go to Arsenal." They didn't have to do that, Gyökeres could easily have said, "Okay, I'm not going to Arsenal. I'm just going to wait for any other team. Man United want me, Chelsea want me, Liverpool might want me. Let me wait. Bayern Munich might want me, Real Madrid might want me. Let me wait for next season. Let me play for Sporting this season. Let me wait for what is going to happen in August." He could easily have said that to Gyökeres. His agent could easily have said, "Hey, Arsenal only going to pay like less than 200,000 per week. I can definitely get you better deals. Let me go and speak to other teams." And he's a super agent. He could easily have gone and spoken to other teams to try and get the best, move for his client. But his client told him, "No, I want to play for Arsenal." And the agent himself agreed and said, "Yes, I agree. Arsenal is the best move for you. Let's try and make this happen." And with throughout that whole time, Arsenal was still trying to negotiate with Sesko. We were linked with Sesko more. Arsenal wanted Sesko more than Gyökeres, but they never gave up. They said, "I'm going to join Arsenal. That's the move that we wanted to make. Forget about Sesko. I want to join you." And Arsenal decided to move to Gyökeres, and it's absolutely worth it. Now, even if Arsenal didn't really want Gyökeres, I feel like the fact that Gyökeres pushed for this move made Arsenal decide that, we are going to go for him. A hand of Arsenal told us that like a week ago. He said that the Arsenal board could not believe how much Gyökeres pushed for that move. It even, swayed them to just say, "You know what, let's just bring him to Arsenal. He really wants to play for us. He's a striker who scored almost 100 goals in 2 seasons. Let's just go and bring him in." That really helped us. So I cannot wait for him to get started. Welcome to Arsenal, Viktor Gyökeres. His interview is already out on Arsenal's YouTube and everywhere else as well. I think Facebook and Twitter. And he's very committed. He's very ready to come and score goals. He's happy. He was asked about joining Odegaard and Norgard, the Scandinavian players, and he said, it's great. He was told about Stina, the Swedish striker, plays for Arsenal's women. He was joking around and saying, "You guys really know how to recruit." Yes, we do. He knows that he's going to be good. He's going to be humble, obviously, but he knows he's going to score goals. He's definitely going to score goals. So welcome to Arsenal, Viktor Gyökeres. I cannot wait for him to get started. But this is what Ghana Block said as well. In mid-June, Andrea Bata flew to Menorca for in-person talks with Sporting over Viktor Gyökeres. It was significant. I've been celebrating so much. I can't speak on this video. I've been so excited the whole day. Even a word like significant becomes quite significant to say, It was a significant moment for all Arsenal's interest in Benjamin Sesko. There had never been a summit such as this. So there's more news on Sesko. We'll talk about it on the live show either tomorrow, Monday or something. Basically, they were saying us were really pushing for Sesko. Edu and Jason Knight were really pushing for Sesko. But, this guy came in and said, "No, I want Gyökeres," and he went and held meetings. And despite even Ateta wanting Sesko as well, after sitting with Bata convinced him that Gyökeres is the correct player, and Ateta agreed with it. And they've decided to go for Gyökeres, and the player wanted to join Arsenal, and it's working out perfectly. It's definitely going to work out perfectly, and I cannot wait, man. I cannot wait. So who's next, though? After Gyökeres, who's going to be next? Who's the next player we're going to sign? That is already 6 signings, close to 200 million spent. Are we going to spend up to 250 million? Are we going to break the 300 million by this season? That would be crazy. So who is next? This is the latest on Eze. So before this, Viktor Gyökeres will be in attendance as Arsenal face Newcastle tomorrow, Team News and Tick says. So Fabrizio also says Arsenal remain in contact with Eberechi Eze's camp since June, as the player is keen on the move. So Eze definitely wants to move to Arsenal. Once again, I absolutely love players who want to move to Arsenal. They make everything easy. If the player wants to move, it kind of forces the other team to sell, and it makes the decision easy for Arsenal to just go and get him. It makes everything simpler. Mosquera, Gyökeres, all that has been fantastic. No club-to-club talks yet with Palace, as Arsenal work on going as priority now, with Reiss Nelson to Fulham expected to be the next move. Now, we already told that like a week ago, but I'm not too worried about that. We're still 3 weeks away from the Premier League starting. Our game will be on that Sunday, so you can say like around 19 days or something before our first Premier League game. More than that, maybe 23 days up until we play our first game. So we still have time. And the good thing is, you're not like taking a long time to sell players. All of a sudden, right now, we are hearing stuff on Nelson, you're hearing stuff on Jesus. So maybe next week we're going to sell all of these players that have been linked to the moves away, and then the following week or that weekend we just fast forward on the Eze deal, and before the season starts, maybe a week or two before, Eze is there and is wearing an Arsenal kit. Maybe that could be the case because it's not as complicated as the one for Gyökeres, so it could take 5 or 6 days to just complete everything, and he doesn't need to adapt. He's just going to London, same country, same city. He's played at Arsenal before, so it's not going to be that hard for him to adapt. So it's not like Gyökeres coming from a different country. So that is what Fabrizio's had to say about this one. We'll talk about Nelson later on as well. What about Miguel Delaney? Miguel Delaney says with the Gyökeres signed, Arsenal are pushing on for Eze. Possible a player goes the other way. Although Nelson, who had been broached as an option, now going to Fulham. So the one for giving Reiss Nelson to Crystal Palace, that one is not going to happen because we are more linked to, he's going to go to Fulham. So if it's in terms of exchanging players with Eze or with Crystal Palace for Eze, then it's not going to be necessary. It has to be someone like a Lokongo, a Fabio Vieira, a Karlhijn, or Zinchenko, depending on who they want. But we'll also talk about Zinchenko later on. Now, I'm also not too keen on selling Zinchenko anyway. Now, they want 68 million, 60 million plus 8 million in add-ons. Arsenal want to negotiate that. Now, will Crystal Palace agree and let us negotiate that? We've been able to do some incredible deals so far in this transfer window. Even the Gyökeres one, they had at the beginning, they were like, you have to pay 80 million. We're not listening to anything, but we've ended up paying 54.8 million plus the 10 million in add-ons. And even the 8 million pounds in add-ons, it's been broken down well. At least we've involved goals there. So if he comes and scores 40 goals, you're going to give them a little bit of money. That's great, because if he scores 40 goals for us, it means he's done a very good job and it has worked. The move has worked, so you can pay them the extra money. On top of that, the deal for Mosquera has been great. They wanted 20 million plus. We've ended up paying like 13 million plus add-ons. We've ended up paying like 12 million for Norgard, 10 million plus 2 million in add-ons. On top of that, Zubimendi only cost 55 million, and you're paying it in installments. So all of those deals that you've gotten done, so most of them have been absolutely fantastic. And you're not paying anyone crazy money like 300,000 a week or something. No, we've kept it balanced. So far we've done a great job. So I'd not be surprised if Andrea Bat is able to pull this deal through, and fitting as well, and not having to overpay for Eze. And Eze is now literally the final missing piece. If Eze gets signed for Arsenal, that's a 10 out of 10 transfer window for me. Exactly what we needed this transfer window, because last season was very underwhelming in the Premier League. The performances, so many poor performances. That's why we ended up having like close to 20 draws. Our defense is still very good, so let's not have our defense go to waste. Let's bring in players who are going to complement that defense. You can see Declan Rice excited, Saka excited, because they're not bringing this kind of players. It excites everyone. All of a sudden, fans will be like, okay, you brought in Eze and Gyökeres. Let's also see how Madueke does. All of a sudden, the mood is not going to be as bad as it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So let's see. That is what Miguel Delaney says. Also, Hand of Arsenal says there's been informal dialogue between Arsenal and Crystal Palace for the transfer of Eberechi Eze very, very recently. So informal talks, not really, sitting down together and talking, or, hand to hand or whatever. No, we've just, mentioned it. They've mentioned it. We've mentioned it. So they know that Arsenal are interested in Eze. Eze knows Arsenal want him. But maybe you've told them, listen, you're going to come back for him. Let's make some sales, and then you're going to push for him. Now, I don't know if any other teams are going to come in for him. Liverpool have signed so many players. I don't know if they're also going to go in for Eze. Chelsea are signing Xavi Simons. They're not going to go for Eze. Xavi Simons was Arsenal's second option. Arsenal said, no, you're not going to go for Xavi Simons. You're going to try Eze first. If Eze fails, then you're going to go for Xavi Simons. But as of now, we are more interested in Eberechi Eze. After that, I don't think there's another team that will go for Eze. So, and especially because he really wants to join Arsenal, that really helps. That's the other thing. We can be a little bit, we can take up our time a little bit, knowing the player only wants to join Arsenal. He's not going to change his mind and say, you know what, or wherever I'm going to go to United or Chelsea. No, he's going to wait for the Arsenal move. And just imagine that team, man. Just imagine we have Odegaard, then Saka and Eze and Gyökeres and Saka is still, and then there's other young players emerging like Nwaneri and players like Dauman. Like, that is exciting. All of a sudden you can rotate the team. We don't have to play everyone every single time. You can play Madueke in some games. If he delivers, fantastic, especially if all of these players come to us and they start delivering. Madueke starts chipping in the goals and assists, and Gyökeres chips in the goals that we need, and Saka contributes the goals and assists, and Odegaard improves from last season, and Trossard and Martinelli improve from last season, and you still are able to also get those headed goals from Gabriel and players like that, then you're in a very good place. The reason why some fans are not really happy with the headed goals is because you aren't really scoring any other way. But if you have Gyökeres, they're scoring goals, and you have Eze, they're scoring goals, and Saka, they're scoring goals, and then on top of that, you also have the headed goals from the corners, then you become very, very dangerous right away. You become exciting, and rival fans and rival teams, they look at you and they're like, oh, who do we mark? Are we going to mark Saka? Are we going to mark Gyökeres? Are we going to mark Eze? Is it going to be Subimendi's pass that you're going to try and stop? It just confuses everyone completely. So recently, I've open talks recently. Also, Ben Jacobs says Arsenal still have Eberechi Eze high in their thinking, as exclusively revealed. Some initial talks have now taken place with Crystal Palace, who made it clear Eze's 60 million plus 8 million release clause would need triggering or matching. Arsenal now considering whether to make a bid and try at a lower number to test that position, as it remains keen on a move. So there's going to be a bit of negotiating to see whether they're going to accept that that lower fee, or are they going to accept a player? Will they be happy to get a player that's going to change their mind? All of that, we are waiting to see whether is going to work out. Well, I guess it also depends on how much Arsenal are able to push or to pull from the outgoings from this season. In terms of wages, we've done an incredible job, because Partey was on close to 200k, Tomiyasu was like on 100k, Jorginho's on 110k. We had a lot of players who were getting paid a lot of money, so reducing all of those wages might help us to try and get someone like an Eze, so that would be fantastic. And on top of that, you're also trying to sell someone like a Jesus who's on 265,000. So wage-wise, we're doing great. Now let's see if in terms of the fee, we can get some good fee for the players that we're trying to sell. Now, speaking of the players that we're trying to sell, this is the latest on Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus could leave Arsenal this summer. Arsenal value him at 30 million euros. Now, that's around maybe 25 million pounds. I mean, it's because of the injuries. If Jesus wasn't injured, there's glimpses of him. Like, first season, he was very good for us. Second season, he was our best player in the Champions League. So it's not like completely hopeless or anything. It's not the best goal scorer, but in terms of, contributing to the team and, all the skills in and around the box and all that, he does have some trickery. You can watch a game like against Nottingham Forest 2 seasons ago. He's the one who made us win that game. You watch a game like Luton away from home, that tight game, that 4-3. He was very good in that game. So all of that, he's a very good player when it comes to, if you had Gyökeres and Jesus playing behind him, then that is very different. But unfortunately, the injuries have not really allowed him to have any sort of consistency. 3 seasons at Arsenal, he's played less than 100 games, and he's scored 26 goals in the 3 years, and that is not what you want from your striker. You want your striker to score 26 goals in 1 season, not 26 goals in 3 seasons. So unfortunately, Arsenal are going to move on from him very soon, and looks like he's happy to move on as well. But let's see if you're going to get that money, because he currently has an ACL injury. So we've been told it might be a loan deal with an optional obligation to buy. So it's not going to be, I don't know if they're going to pay that money right away. I don't know if they have that money right away to pay. So you have to be to wait and see what happens with that. Now, Reiss Nelson. David Onstin says Fulham in advanced talks with Arsenal to sign Reiss Nelson. Discussions for 25-year-old center on 25-year-old on loan, center on loan, plus buy option or obligation, and significant fee or permanent agreement between Fulham and Arsenal close but not done. Work needed for move to materialize. So I don't know if he's going to play against Newcastle tomorrow, but either way, we knew he was going to be moved on. He played really well when he came off the bench against AC Milan. So does that make Fulham, maybe want to pay us a little bit more for him after seeing that game? Let's hope so, because we do need to sell players. We've never been a good team at selling players. We always struggle to sell players. We all struggle to get any significant money for anyone that we've sold, starting with Leno. And even you have to go back in the day, man, we never get any significant money for any of our players. So if Reiss Nelson is can get us like at least 20 million, and then you can get like 25 million for Gabriel Jesus, and then on top of that you've reduced the wage bill from all the players that you've let go. That is super exciting. So that's the latest on Reiss Nelson. We'll cover it more tomorrow, but looks like he's making his move to Fulham very, very soon. Now, Arsenal make Trossard and Zinchenko transfer U-turns. This is according to Football Transfer. So what U-turns have we made? Zinchenko has been linked to the move away. Trossard has been linked to the move away. But are they going to actually happen? Now, for me, I'm never like really waking up in the morning and thinking, have we sold Zinchenko yet? We need to sell him. I'm not waking up thinking, Trossard, have we sold him yet? You need to sell him. No, I still feel like they can contribute to the team and we need enough players in our team. Even if it's 3 players in one position, I'm absolutely fine with that because last season we saw things can happen to 2 players in the same position at the same time. Like last season, there's a point where Saka was injured, Nwaneri is injured, and even Sterling at the same time was injured on that side. Like that can happen. So you need enough players in your team, and that is what I want us to have. Even if Eze is there, have both Martinelli and Trossard. Eze can play there sometimes. Martinelli can play there sometimes. Trossard can play there sometimes. Gyökeres can start up front sometimes. Merino can start up front sometimes. Havertz can start up sometimes. Saka, Nwaneri, Trossard can maybe play right on the right side one game. You have Zubimendi, you have Merino, you have Reiss, you have Nogat. I want to have a lot of options. And also defensively, because of the injuries, I don't think you're going to sign any other defender. And right now, Gabriel is still injured and Timber is still injured. We also cannot play Ben White every single game or play Calafiori every single game. We have to rotate that as well. So what's the latest on Trossard and Zinchenko? Now, according to the article, they're saying despite interest and speculation around their futures, sources close to the club have told us that Mikel Arteta wants both Trossard and Zinchenko to stay at the club this summer, with all parties aligned on continuing their journey in North London for at least 1 more year. Trossard, who's 30, has been engaged in contract discussions with Arsenal since the turn of the year. The Belgian forward was initially offered an extension on his current terms, but without a pay increase, something that caused a temporary stall in negotiations. However, talks have since resumed. According to Football Transfers, sources, a compromise is close to being finalized. So we might actually end up giving Trossard a new contract. His contract is expiring next year, so it's either we sell him or give him a new contract. And then they go on to say the former Brighton man is said to be settled in London and motivated ahead of a new campaign. About Zinchenko, as for Zinchenko, Football Transfers understands the Ukrainian had asked the club for permission to explore potential moves away from the Emirates earlier this summer. That led to Arsenal to begin scouring the market for left-back reinforcements, including making contact with Jorel Hato, who now looks set to sign for Chelsea. And ultimately, a series of conversations with Arteta, who has a long-standing relationship with Zinchenko from their days at Man City, proved decisive. The 27-year-old has now recommitted to Arsenal's project, and like Trossard, is fully focused on the season ahead, barring any change of heart from both players. Zinchenko's tactical versatility and Trossard's attacking flair will be vital assets as the Gunners look to build on from last season and mount another serious title challenge. With the futures of both players now seemingly resolved, Arsenal's summer strategy can take shape with greater clarity as they prepare for a busy running in the transfer window. So very interesting. Looks like we don't have to sell Trossard and Zinchenko. Again, I'm not really keen on selling them. Trossard can be a bench option. Zinchenko can be a bench option. He can come on in midfield sometimes. He's technically gifted. He's still a very good passer. Still a very good control of the ball. For me, I'm happy to keep both of them, Zinchenko and Trossard, unless we need that money to use elsewhere. That's the other thing. If we don't really need that money and we can sell the likes of Lokong and Fabio Vieira and Karl Hein and all those guys, and we can still have money, then that is great. So let's see how it goes. But that's the latest. Thank you for watching. A lot has happened today. More importantly, welcome to us, Viktor Gyökeres. I cannot wait for him to get started. Catch up with you guys on the next one.